So we're going to do our Faber-Castell watercolor pencil class. We're going to start with the set. And the set does come with your pencils, and it also includes a paintbrush. It has a pretty nice paintbrush, however, I do have the paintbrush that I prefer, so I'm going to go with one that I have. The paintbrush they provide is a pretty good start, but I would definitely switch to one that that you like better. So today we're going to work on some different herbs and flowering herbs that we'll make also into cards. So first we're going to do practice, and then we're going to actually do them on cards that you can use to send off to people and send notes to people. So the first one we're going to work with is lavender. Lavender is really actually quite fun to do. So the lavender shape that we're going to use is you're going to do a triangle of little dots. And it kind of looks like an upside down grapes. So I'm using the purple first, and then I'm going to go and use a dark blue down on one side of my lavender. And I'm going to repeat this again with another. So I'm doing little circles that go down into what I would say a little triangle. And then the second color is the blue, and I'm only doing it on one side because it's going to actually, once we add paint, create a little bit of a shadow effect. I'm going to go back in and just add a little bit more of the purple. So we have the purple on one side and we have the blue on this side. They're on top of each other. Then when we add a little bit of water to this, I'm going to start on the light side and kind of lightly wash it and work my way over to the darker side. Rinse my brush and do it again. And what's nice about these watercolor pencils, it does smoothly change. I didn't paint it all the way. I do want it to show a little bit of the texture going on in there. So I do want some of those little swirls showing. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to do the stems. So those are straight lines down. And then we're going to do a couple little pieces of grass or the leaves. And then what makes lavender is a little green at the top that kind of signifies the bits of lavender. It's also nice to add a few, I'm going to do a few longer ones, and before the lavender really grows you have a little bit of a, like as if it's a baby and it hasn't quite opened up yet, and so that's also nice to add in here. So it's a pretty simple little piece to do, but it can have such a great effect when you add it to a note card. We also have a dark green. It is nice to add a few pieces of dark green in here. You're just doing a few lines. This should be fun and not think too hard about it. Remember, we're just going to enjoy the practice enjoy the journey of it. I'm taking my wet paintbrush, I'm dipping it in water, and just kind of brushing over the lines. It takes it from that straight up pencil to a little bit more paint looking, and it just kind of adds a little softness to the look. It's pretty simple. When we do it on a card, you're going to see how cute this is going to look. The next one I want to do is chives. I'm staying kind of in the same theme of color scheme. Chives are just a fun little piece to do. So you're going to, I call it scribbling. You're going to kind of scribble in a fan shape, like as if you're only doing a little fan, and just randomly put them around. And then we're going to do a couple that are smaller. Again, it's nice to show a few that are fully open and then a few that are just barely getting started. The other piece, that color we're going to use again, is that blue. The blue kind of creates that dark shadow effect. And it gives a little more dimension to the purple. If we just left it purple, it would be fine. But the blue is going to just give you a little more kick to the color. The other color you can add in here is just a little bit of the red on top. Again, you'll start to see how it creates just a little bit more dimension in the chives. With that, we are going to always start on the light side and work our way to the dark. So we're pulling back into the little fans, coming down in. You could go the other direction. It just kind of gives you a little more dimension if you stay going light to dark. But try both ways. This is about playing around with this and trying different things. The chives are very similar to the lavender as far as the stems go. We're coming down, a stem for each piece that's in the picture, and then from there you're going to go back out with your pencil and create the extra bit of leaves and foliage that's going on around the chives. So that is our lavender and our chives. Both of these have variations, but this is just to show you a kind of a quick sample of it. The next piece that we're going to do is some thyme leaves. The thyme leaves, I just think, have an interesting look to them, and once again, something fun to do in the herbs, as far as that we're using herbs and kind of different things that would be pretty to use in a kitchen design also. So my version of thyme is I'm going to do 3 lines going straight up, or 4, and then these are going to be, what I would say is I counted like a 1, 2, 3, little 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, coming down. And it starts out a little more small at the top and then gets bigger at the bottom. So 1, 2 at the top, and then do your 1, 2, 3. And as you go down, get a little bigger and a little bigger. And the same on each one. So 1, 2, and then you're going to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Remember, this is supposed to be the practice of, meaning you're supposed to enjoy it, and then don't worry about if it's perfect or not. These are going to end up looking really great once you get them all painted, and it's not about being perfect, it's about just enjoying it and also kind of sticking with it. Sometimes when you're doing artwork, you have the tendency to want to give up and start over. I find that pushing through it and continuing and trusting in the process, you end up with something unexpected that you're like, later you look back and you say, oh wait, that's better than I remember. I remember midway thinking this is not working. So stick with it, keep going, play around with this. So what I'm doing now is adding the dark pencil to the bottom of those 1, 2, 3s, kind of in that little scribble of a fan shape again. What it's going to do again is add that dimension to our thyme and give us a little color to it. When we get down to painting this, you're going to get your paintbrush wet. Start with the top little pieces, and you're just kind of brushing over these, and then working each little section all the way down. You can go either way on this. I do both. Now you can paint the stem if you'd like. I kind of like it not painted because I like using the pencil as is. So you can use it either way. We're going to go back up to the lavender, and up in the lavender we're just going to finish out with some of those swirls again on top of what we painted. What's nice about watercolor pencil is that you can go back in and go on top once it's dried, and it dried very quickly. I'm working on a cardstock, which is the same cardstock that you can use with your cards. And it's an 80-pound cardstock. And watercolor pencil works really well on it. You can also work on watercolor paper. So again, I'm just adding a few little more dimensional pieces. I'm adding a little dark to it. And then just because it's me, I tend to add little swirls. I like to have things that appear to be kind of in motion when I do my artwork. So that's the lavender. You can continue working on top of that. You can add other things, but that's the basic lavender. And the chives. So the chives we did paint. It's dry by now. And I like to go over it one more time with the purple. It just adds that extra little dimension rather than leaving it alone. A couple more layers. This layer I'm not going to paint. I'm actually going to let it be in the pencil's form. The part that we did paint will be a soft background layer, and then this is going to have a little more definition when you get to this part. This is also where I sometimes will add a little like a bumblebee or something in there that I like to add. I'm trying to think what I want to use. That just adds another little dimension to this. So I typically add a little butterfly or a little bumblebee, and sometimes I add little ladybugs because they're quick, easy, and fun to add in. Now our thyme that I did, the leaves, it's already dry. Once again, this dries so quick. I'm working in real time, and I am going to add a little more of the blue at the bottom base of each little section, and you'll see the difference as it starts to create that dimension. And the thyme can be as if it's in nature with other little greenery, or you could add as if it's in a flower pot and create a flower pot going underneath it. These are just the practice pieces, and now we're going to move to a card. All three of these would make a wonderful card, but we are going to work with the chives. So I'm going to move this off to the side, and we have our card. So this is a cardstock, 8.5 by 11, cut in half, and then folded again. So you end up with the approximate a fourth of a sheet of paper. This is the perfect size for an A2 envelope, which is the size that they refer to. And if you're taking my class, I will have mailed these to you. If you want more, just contact me and I will get them for you. Okay, so here we have our card, and we are going to take that same simple design of the chives because I think they kind of came out fun, and I'm working in a horizontal format. It's your choice. You are your own artist. You can do it vertical, horizontal, however you want to do it. So again, as we did before, I've done the fan shape, and then I'm going back in with my blue on the lower part of the fan. And chives actually go further. They go almost like a half circle, so we can make this go further. I'm going back in with my dark green. I'm using the dark green as the stems. And just coming straight down. It doesn't have to be anything. Oh, that actually looks nice just like that. And then I'm coming back up with a light green. The reason I do that, it just adds another little dimension to it. If I used all the same green, that's fine. But having the two different colors, you can see there's a little variance there. The chives could be left alone, but we're going to just go in and do a little wash with our paintbrush. And you can pull it out a little further so that you have a little more to the chives. So if you can see some of them, there's a little more shadow coming off the top, which just adds a lot more fun. This is why you're playing around with this. You're having fun with this. So while that's resting or drying, I am going to put a bumblebee. I just taken the yellow, making an oval, taking my black, doing my 2 lines, and then the little bumblebee look. And so that's, you can add the little front to your bumblebee too. And what's also kind of cute when you do a bumblebee is to do a couple of dashes as if it's been flying all around your garden. And that just kind of creates that movement. I always like to add a little movement somewhere. It's just who I am. And I think in this one I'm going to add another little bumblebee over here. And this one's going to actually be flying out. So we have our chives, we have our bumblebees, and then it has dried. So again, this is a very quick dry, and that's what makes watercolor pencils so much fun. I'm going back in on top with more pencil. Again, it's creating dimension and some depth. And back in with the blue. The blue and purple work really well together. They're just 2 colors that go really well. And then we're going to just take a little more green. I'm going to create just a little base with the green as if the chives have just a little bit of a base there. Right under there. I'm just doing a V, a little V shape coming out just to give it a little more connection. And then with the dark green, so we did the dark green on the stems, we did the light green grass, and then I'm going back in with a little bit of the dark green grass or leaves to give a little more depth. And that is your chive little note card that's going to be so cute when you send it to somebody. Take a minute to sign your name at the bottom. You can do it in any color. And then that way it is signed. And then you're going to flip your card over, and on the back you're going to write your company name. And the year. Oh, just forgot what year it was. And if it messes up, the wonderful thing about watercolor pencils is that it is pretty much erasable. So you can actually erase that as long as water has not been added. The little C means it's copyright, meaning you're just claiming it and saying this is mine. And I'm all done. So this is the front, that's the back, the inside is blank, and now you have a very sweet little card to send off to some friends. In your kit you will have envelopes that go with this. It makes it fun to send. If you would like to have this printed into cards, you can reach out to me. Call us at the store at 937-294-3000, or you can email me at amy@lulabellart.com, and we can make this into a set of box cards for you. I hope you've enjoyed this little practice set, and I look forward to seeing you again. And enjoy the process, enjoy the art, and enjoy the practice of just doing art. Thank you so much, and look forward to seeing you again next time.